So we're speaking to the Luke Skywalker of the Showdown.
Exactly. It's even got the blonde hair for it, you know?
Welcome to Church Jams Now, the podcast where three former youth group kids and current music nerds deep dive into Christian music from the 90s and 2000s. I, of course, am your co-host, Kylan Savage. I don't know what to do. I usually say with me as always is Mr. TJ Smith, but I don't know what to do in this situation because Mr. TJ Smith just had a child and he is spending this evening with his lovely, beautiful new child. Even though I told him if he didn't show up to this, we'd have to reconsider the terms of him being on the podcast. So I guess I've just got beautiful producer Josh Olson. How are you this evening,
I'm
Josh?
good. TJ's not here, but hell can't stop us now, even without him.
I love it.
There we go. I don't know. We might have to start calling him TJ Iscariot.
There it is.
And of course, we have a guest this evening that we are so excited about. To talk about this album, we have the lead singer of the band The Showdown, Mr. David Bunton. Should I think I'm going to call you Mr. Bunton. Are you okay with that?
Fine.
Are you comfortable with that?
It sounds like he's like subbing in for like a class or something like that.
No, I know.
Sub, Mr. Bunton.
For sure. David, thank you so much for doing the show, man. How you doing?
Good. No, thanks for having me on. Doing good. Yeah, just hanging out, just chilling. Music. I love music. I love talking about music. I listen to podcasts about music all the time. So yeah, I'm into being on one.
Have we got to show the right place? Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, we are so excited. Before we get into the album that we're going to talk about, every time we have people on the show, I love to talk about origin stories, right? So our show is pretty specifically about Christian music from the 90s and 2000s, although we've dabbled in 80s and 70s and 2010s. So for us, a big part of it is a lot of this was music that we just had to listen to. Right? Like we were told like this is the only music you can listen to if you can buy it at Lifeway or a Family Christian Bookstore or Mardell's. So I'm always really fascinated with people's origin stories of like what kind of music did you grow up listening to, and then how did you ostensibly get involved in the quote unquote Christian music scene when you did?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much just listened to whatever when I was in high school, like just whatever, the Eagles, whatever my friends listened to. I didn't really get into or have an interest in music really until about my junior year of high school. I got into Ben Folds 5 and I loved them. I was like super drawn to them as they were like punk rock. Kind of he was like beating the piano with his stool and everything. And then from there, it's like, I guess it was about my senior year of high school, me and some of my buddies, we started playing music and we were in youth group. So we kind of like DC Talk was always on in the van. We had gone a DC Talk. This was like 98, 99. We were seniors in high school.
Supernatural era.
Supernatural, yeah. Like, so we saw them on that tour, but we started getting into like my senior year of high school. We started getting into like towards the end, like MXPX, Slick Shoes. Mm-hmm. They were big. Craig's Brother, pretty much like all of those. And there's like nobody like really told me and my friends we had to like listen to that music. We like actively like, sought it out, especially like when we found out that there was something else other than just DC Talk. Like we were just like, oh my gosh, these rules. There's like music out there that speaks to us, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that like I love DC Talk. That's my jam still. Like I love Jesus
Right.
Freak is a killer record. Supernatural's a killer. We actually, me and my wife and my two kids, we actually just went and saw Toby Mac a couple months ago.
Oh, nice.
So it's like,
Oh,
you know, it's
nice.
like, I mean, here we are, you know, how many ever years later on the Church Jams Now podcast. I'm still about that life, but you
Yeah.
know, I definitely like big fan, like all of the punk bands on Tooth and Nail. I'm super fascinated by it still. I was actually listening to a podcast today, the Growing Up Punk podcast. I was listening to like they were deep diving this band, The Undecided, and it was like I
Okay.
was just like, you know, I loved anything punk rock on Tooth and Nail, but it's like, you know, you listen to some stuff, it's like some stuff holds up, some stuff not so much, but it's like super interesting. I love going back and checking all that stuff out. Me and my daughter, we were
Oh
driving
yeah.
in the car today, we were listening to like Undecided, Hangnail, we're talking about Cornerstone, like, so it's like kind of like that's kind of what I was
Oh
into,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like definitely going to Cornerstone in 2001 kind of opened up my like from punk rock to like everything else.
Right. Who was headlining in 2001, if you
Gosh, I
remember?
think I know that's the year Striper played for sure.
Nice.
Okay.
Um, but
Nice.
I was just more like trying to see like Slick Shoes,
All the
you
right.
know,
Yeah,
Slick
yeah.
Shoes, MXPX. They played like all of the punk bands played. I mean, I saw a bunch of bands that really kind of blew me away for the first time, like Stretch Armstrong and like you know some of the solid state bands. That was kind of cool, but I don't know. I
Right.
mean, you know, it's just kind of like I've always kind of been like all over the place. Like I like punk rock, heavy metal,
Right.
hardcore. I love 238. They're like one of my favorite bands. So it
Nice.
definitely like never really outgrew that kind of music or like,
Yeah.
you know, always kind of like kept it close. There was a point in time where like it's like, okay, I listen to more stuff than just Christian music now for sure.
Right.
I like, you know, I remember one of the first CDs that I bought that were like not a Christian CD that was like whatever was like a Get Up Kids, something to write home about. I like saw
Yeah.
them.
Hell
I
yeah.
saw their music video on like 120 minutes or whatever. Like I was like
Nice.
waiting for an MXPX video to come on, and like Matt Pinfield said they were punk rock, and I was like, dude, this band is not punk rock. Like I ended up buying their CD, and I really liked that CD a lot.
It's so
Yeah.
good. It's so good. Okay, okay. So then I have a question. So how the hell do you go from Ben Folds 5 and Get Up Kids to like starting the Showdown?
Hmm.
Can you walk us through that
Yeah.
briefly?
I mean, our guitar player, Josh, who, you know, he played the guitar in the Showdown the whole way through. He was always into metal. You know, from the get go. Like he was always into metal, always into Pantera, always into like Metallica and stuff like that. A lot of us guys, we were into punk and stuff like that. He liked playing music. He liked
Mhm.
to do shows. And he liked punk rock. I don't necessarily think that
Right.
like it was, he liked it as much. So it's like, you know,
Right.
the more that we played, the more that he wrote, you know, we would do, I think we were called 2540, which were straight up a new school punk band. In
Right.
2002, we changed our name to the Showdown, and we would do like new school punk rock, but we like this like straight up like Craig's brother, but we would do like breakdowns in them because
Nice.
like
Okay.
Josh found out one day at practice that I could scream. We were like jamming on a Zayo song, and I mean I liked
This is great.
Zayo and like there was a
Hmm.
band, which I've said this before, but I think one of the first bands that I saw that really just blew my mind. It was on the Let's Jet stage at Cornerstone 2001. It's this band called Ana Vea, and like some of those guys went on to be um, a lot of the members and still remains. Uh,
Mm.
Oh wow.
Ana Vea was a great band, and they just blew my mind. It was just like so magnetic. And of course, that cornerstone I saw like Ludacris and all these other bands, but I don't know.
Right.
I just kind of got into that and figured out that I could make those noises, and it just clicked. And it was just like, you put a breakdown in the song. We would have like one song with a breakdown, and then more songs would be breakdowns. And like Josh wrote a lot of the lyrics and came up with a lot of the melodies and stuff like that in the songs. It's not ever really been my strong suit. So eventually it was just like, okay, well, now we've got songs that are majority screaming with like some singing. So it was like,
Right.
I don't know, you know what I mean? And it was cool too, because like, to be doing that punk rock thing with the screams back then, we were doing that. We played with this band called 17 Split. They were doing that a lot. And there was a lot of bands that were doing the new school punk with the breakdown back then,
Right.
which is kind of cool. And it's cool. It's like there's bands that are still doing that, and it's just really cool. You know what I'm saying? Like it's interesting. Like I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
That's
I
so
like to
good.
imagine. I have to imagine at least some of like the genre shift happened because of the name change. Like with y'all picking the Showdown, like it was just like pushing y'all towards. Cause that's a heavy metal band name. Like it
Right.
could work as a punk band, I guess, but I think it was the name was pushing y'all like go heavier.
Yeah. And I did want to touch on what is the significance of 2540? I was just curious about
The Bible verse, Matthew 25:40. So
that. Oh, okay. There we
yeah,
go.
I mean that was just like so the 2540 was a punk band. It was actually, I joined it, but it was two brothers, Jeremy Swain, Daniel Swain, and we went to high school together. And Josh was the bass player, our guitar player. Josh
Okay.
quit. Then my buddy, who was a guitar player in the Showdown, Travis, joined 2540 as the bass player. Then Jeremy quit, and then Josh joined and played guitar.
He rejoined the band. He
Dude,
quit.
I love it. I so relate to this of like high school, early college age, like local scene. Like everyone's just kind of in every band, and you kind of just shuffle until you find like the right
Yeah.
fits. I love
Yeah,
it.
I mean that's what it was, and it was just like we
Yeah.
loved it. I mean, we practiced every day when we were in college. We didn't practice every day, but we had like set practices. Like we practiced
Right.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we would try to throw another practice in. And we were like, it was like regimented. Like, oh, you go to school, you do this, you go to practice. It
Right.
was just like one of those things. So we did that for years. We played so many shows, like, I mean, tons of shows before we even recorded A Chorus of Obliteration. I mean, we did shows all over the South. And our drummer that we played with is an amazing punk drummer, still killer punk drummer. His name's Daniel Swain. He ended up, stepping down from the band. And then our drummer, Andrew, he was a drummer. It played local, and he was in this band that was kind of regional called Rifles at Recess, and they were killer. He just wanted to play with us, and he was definitely like a shred drummer, like a metal shred drummer.
Yeah.
So when he joined, then it was just like it clicked. Because it's like with Josh was like, oh, now we've got Andrew who can do blast beats, okay, and he
Right.
and it was so awesome. It was funny because Andrew like had no idea of anything had to do with the Christian scene at all. Like he had never even heard of Tooth and Nail. Like,
Right.
He was like, so you like this? He would always like rag on us because he was like, you like mixed picks and slick. It's like, what's up with the slick shoe?
There's always one guy in every band that's like the cool, not Christian music guy.
Right. And it's more often than
That
not
makes
the
a
truth.
lot of
You're
sense.
just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just play drums, man.
Yeah.
I love that. Sweet. Okay, so I have some more questions for you, Mr. Bunton. But I'm gonna hand it over to Josh for just a second to talk about the album we're gonna talk about, and then we'll get back to that. All right, Josh, what do you got? I do have to preface, I do this every time we have a guest. This is my favorite part of the show, because Josh is our resident research guy, and he'll talk to us about the album. But this is your opportunity to, if he gets anything wrong, I kind of need you to like yell at him a little bit, because that's the only thing that keeps him in line. Because when we don't have guests for a long enough
Throwing
time,
out stuff left and right.
I feel like he
No
just
one
makes
knows.
stuff
Yeah.
up. So
No one's there to check me.
So it's exactly, because I don't know. So it's really important for you to call him out if he gets anything wrong.
I will, but I'll do it in love.
No. You got to do it
Thanks,
hatefully.
Mr. Bunton.
No, you have to do it so mean.
All
right, Josh, what do we got?
Right, so the Showdown, as David has already mentioned, I like to go through the members. Of course, we have David Bunton on vocals, and as he's already mentioned, we have Travis Bailey on guitar, Josh Childers on guitar. How do you say Eric's last name? Eric Korushak?
Karushak.
Yep. On bass, and Andrew Hall on drums. So we're talking about the Showdown's first record, A Chorus of Obliteration, for its 20th anniversary, because it was released November 16th of 2004. It was y'all's first LP. Wow. It was released on mono versus stereo, which is fun. We don't get a ton of those. Producer was the legendary Mr. Bruce Fitzhugh, and engineer was the up-and-coming Jeremiah Scott. It's funny, I re-listened to your episode, your labeled episode, where it has Brad Moist on at the beginning, and Brad said he regretted not having someone else mix the record, because I guess Jeremiah did it, and it's like, I think he was like pretty like new to it, right? To like recording and everything.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like Jeremiah and Andrew. Also, Andrew was in a band with Jeremiah called Destroy, Destroy, Destroy.
That's a good name.
And so yeah, it was just more of just like, he was going to school. He went to school for that, and I think I had just graduated, and it was just one of those things where I guess he had done an intern at this studio on Music Row where they recorded One More Day and for Lone Star, and like we had a good deal there. Right. So it's like it was just this thing, you know what I'm saying? Or I think we did some demos there for this record, like at night while they were closed and nobody knew, or just something weird, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
oh yes.
But that's so good. Yeah, I mean, and no shade to Jeremiah, of course. Like maybe it shows a little bit, but obviously he went on to produce more y'all's records and then like do Demon Hunter stuff. So he's obviously grown in his abilities. So I just thought that was a funny note from Brad about that.
Oh yeah. I mean, if we could have at least if we could have had it remixed, or if we'd had it mixed by somebody else, that would have been awesome. But I mean, it all worked out. I mean, and when we did Backbreaker, we knew, we was like, oh, we got to go back with Jeremiah. Like it just felt good, it felt right. Like, so yeah, it all worked out. But it is what it is. It definitely
makes it fun. You gotta kind of have a scrappy debut, like you can't be too polished and clean coming out.
Exactly.
Exactly. The only other thing I have is the runtime: 10 songs, 42 minutes and 47 seconds, and that about wraps up my research.
Nice. All right, David. What did Josh get wrong? Let's run through the list. What did he get wrong?
Man, that was pretty.
The only thing I didn't say that I wanted.
No, he's really good.
I was like, do I risk it? But y'all are from Johnson City, but is it Elizabethton?
Yes.
How do you say that? Elizabethton?
Yeah, it's Elizabethton.
That's a lot of T's. Yeah.
Yeah, we are from Elizabethton. So Travis, Eric, and Josh and I, we all went to Elizabethton High School. Andrew was from like Kingsport, which was like 30 minutes away, but yeah, we're all from that area.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Sick burn, Josh. You got something wrong.
Yeah.
You didn't know how to pronounce that town.
In East Tennessee.
So, David, before we get into our part B, I just want to talk to you briefly about what was y'all's headspace, right? Going into recording this record, kind of, if you can give me like a brief rundown of the process of getting signed and recording this record, just so we get a little more context before we dive in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think there was definitely two different camps of headspaces. I think
Okay. All
I
right.
think there was, the my camp of headspace, which was, Brad was like hitting me up, somehow got my number, wanted to sign us, and I wasn't taking it serious. I was finishing up college. I was not really. It wasn't that I wasn't stoked on music. It was just like, I was at the end of college. I kind of knew what it
Right.
was. Like I'd promoted shows. I promoted a bunch of shows in the area, gone to a bunch of shows, kind of knew what that was. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
if
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to get signed and be in a band, it's not like when I was 18 years old and it was like, I thought I'm going to get signed to, I want my punk band to get signed to Tooth and Nail because then I can drop out and I can go on tour. Everything is going to be great. And like,
Right.
this is just going to mean I'm successful. It's like, I knew
Right.
that,
You're a little more pragmatic
yeah, it's
about
like,
it.
I knew
Like,
that
yeah.
was not actually the case. Like, we're
Right.
going to get signed and do a record and then it's just hard. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that it's hard, not that I was scared of a lot of work, but it's just like, I was not like, I mean, I think maybe I was like 22, maybe 23 or whatever.
Right.
It's a little bit older, but
Yeah, yeah.
um but yeah, I don't know. It was just like I wasn't necessarily like dying to do that and wasn't really taking it serious because I didn't it didn't really catch my ear, the Mono versus Stereo thing. We did a compilation for Mono versus Stereo. So we did do the compilation. We did eventually do a compilation
Hmm.
with them. And, you know, at that point, once we did the compilation, once we made the contact with Brad, the other guys kind of took it over and they were kind of like, in contact with Brad a little bit more. They were, especially Andrew and the guys were kind of going down, and they had recorded this 3-song demo, which was 3 songs from the Chorus of Obliteration record, which actually Brad just hit me up. He just found them. I've been wanting to hear them for like 20
Oh,
years.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
So very
Nice.
pumped. But like, they recorded them. And I mean, I remember hearing them and just being like, oh, this is amazing. And then it just felt like it was bittersweet. Like I had like a serious girlfriend at the time. Like I was finished school, just
Right.
like, oh, this is cool, but yeah, what are we doing here? But
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you don't want to let your friends down. You don't want to let your guys down. So it's like
Yeah.
of course, like I went down and recorded vocals on this demo and to
Hmm.
Nashville. So I drove down to Nashville. Nobody else was there. Like everybody else had done all their stuff and was gone. And then like I went down, I put my vocals on this demo, whatever, and then this talk started happening with Brad. And I can remember as plain as day being in TGI Fridays. We went to TGI Fridays and we were talking about doing this record, probably about doing a tour, doing this and that, the plan and this and that. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, am I really gonna do this? Like, is this really happening? Like, but it's like everybody's pumped on it. And of course I'm pumped on it. I mean, I played hundreds of shows at this point. Like I loved music and I loved shows. That's what my whole entire dream was. And it's like the more it started becoming real, the more we started talking to Brad. Brad is saying, hey, we want to do it in Little Rock with um, Bruce and Barry Pointer and all of these buzz things. And I'm just like, oh, this is too good to be true. Like you can't
Right.
pass this up. And I just remember kind of coming to the place where it was just like, you know what? This is what I've always wanted to do. This is I've always wanted to make a record. I'm super proud of these demos. I'm super proud of where we're at. like I feel like there's a purpose behind our music. It's like I feel like, you know, maybe this is not something that is going to be long term for me. I really don't know, but I just feel like, and it's like such a cop out. Like I'm not, I hate it when people are like, this is what God wants me to do or whatever. It's like, anybody could say
Right.
that about anything. It's just like make these weird,
Yeah, yeah.
let's just make a weird decision and say it's what God wants me to do. I definitely felt that though. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah, yeah.
felt like that's what I'm legit called to do at this time. Like for sure. Like
Right.
didn't really know what it would mean, but if it was just a record or if it was a record in one tour or, whatever, but I just, I even told, I remember, telling my parents and, people that were in my life, like, you know, pretty much like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I feel like I need to do. And I would
Mm,
really appreciate it if you support me as far as like, you know, but if you don't, that's okay. But I'm still going to do it anyways.
right. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh man, I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
love the kind of like
Yeah.
not total reluctant, but a little bit of like, I didn't know we were gonna do. Like, you're not just like, you weren't chomping at the bit and just like trying to make something happen, but like when presented with the opportunity, you're like, I think like we got to go for it. Like, that's a cool approach to the
Hmm.
situation.
but
It feels very like cinematic, right? Like the like classic Joseph Campbell
Yeah, you're
reluctant
getting pulled.
hero,
Yeah,
right?
I must don this cape.
but you don't
Save this
understand.
town.
You don't understand though. Like literally my first year of college, 1999, fall of 1999, we scraped everything we could together to get a demo and record this demo to send to 5 Minute Walk Records because they're signing one band and this one band is going to go on this tour. And like,
Right.
I thought for sure by spring of 2000, I was not going to be in college.
Hmm.
Like, I
Right.
was done. And like, I was
Yeah.
fighting. I mean, I'm talking every day. Like when I say we practiced all the time, we played every single show. That was all I did. I mean, there's no, I was dying to go on tour, dying to put a record out, and dying to be about
Mhm.
that life. So it was like,
Right.
so it was like, you
Right.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So it was like, when it came to like, there's a lot of time trying to live that life and like to come to terms with like, this isn't good. This is not going to happen. And I'm cool with that.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, when you finally
Accept
like
it. Yeah.
you have some peace with that and then it's like, "Oh, wait. Never mind." It's almost like it's almost like when you're finally happy like being single and then it's like, "Oh my God, I feel like every woman at this bar is like hitting on me a little bit." It's like I just resigned myself. I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to take some time for myself. I'm not going to date." And then it's like, "Wait a second, what's this vibe I'm giving off?"
I love that. I
That's
love
so
that.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, that is funny. I don't like it whenever you're saying I was a cinematic hero. I don't like it. I felt like it was
No, I
too
know.
much about me.
No, no, I know. I'm that's welcome to Church Ends Now. I'm constantly trying to turn this into a movie
Yeah, yeah.
podcast. So we're speaking to the Luke Skywalker of the
Yeah,
Showdown.
exactly. He's even got
Oh my
the blonde
god.
hair for it, you know?
I
Yeah,
hope if we could,
exactly.
if I could just go back and do that story again, but try to like even be more humble. Like,
No. Here's the thing. We're gonna gas you up a lot more than you probably anticipate. Because that's kind of what we do. So, okay, my final thing before we go track by track through the album. Josh, I want to talk to you briefly.
Yeah.
about your context. So you did tell a story off mic. You didn't think it was interesting enough for the podcast. You can share it here. If not, that's totally fine. I just want to know in general because I know. So you and I were in a Southern metal
Mm-hmm.
band in college, and you did tell me that the Showdown was a big high school band for
Mm-hmm.
you.
It's true.
So I want to get a little more context on that. If you want to share a little
Yeah, I'll
bit.
share a little bit more when we get into the first song, but I did discover A Monument in Case and Ash, and then a little bit of Temptation early, but it wasn't until Backbreaker came out. I think I was like, I knew a couple of y'all songs, and then Backbreaker came out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this new Showdown record, and I got that, and it was like right in like football season, so it was like perfect like hype music to just like go to practice and games. So it was like it was at that time that then I like went back into the catalog and got Temptation, and then got Chorus, and so I mean I listened to y'all a lot, especially, and then this was as like kind of mentioned, kind of getting into like discovering Southern metal through like Way of Maylene, and then being like, oh, like kind of realizing that y'all had a lot more like Southern stuff like peppered in there because you weren't just like straight Southern, and it wasn't just straight metal, like it was a blend of the two. So that was definitely I think a point that I think like that drew me in. But yeah, so I do have some history with the Showdown of, and then even picking up Blood in the Gears whenever it came out on the day. I remember it came out the same day as the Zombie EP by Devil Wears Prada, so I went to Best Buy and picked up both those records as well. So that was just, I never got into like I could never play that kind of stuff, but I do remember Josh just like playing like the Dean guitars, and like I was into Pantera as well, so I was like, oh, he's playing like obviously like a lot of Dimebag Darrell influence, so that was all like a big drawing point for me to be like, yeah, heck yeah, the Showdown, baby. Southern metal.
It's so crazy. Yeah, it definitely Pantera and Dimebag Darrell, all that. Definitely Josh's. That was definitely his game for sure.
Yeah, I remember he had the Dean
No,
guitars.
no, you don't
and,
say.
oh yeah,
You don't
yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. Okay. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to go track by track with Mr. Bunton himself through the Showdown's A Chorus of Obliteration.
Hey Jammers, this is Josh here. Just wanted to jump in and talk about our sponsor for today's episode, which is, of course, CollideRecords.com. And we're talking about the album A Chorus of Obliteration by The Showdown for its 20th anniversary. And in conjunction with its 20th anniversary, it was pressed to vinyl for the first time ever. One of the variants quickly sold out, but there is a sundown variant available at CollideRecords.com. It's a double LP. It looks great. You can own this record for the first time ever on vinyl. And what's even better is that we can give you a little promo code to bring down the price a little bit. If you use the promo code ChurchJamsNow, all one word at checkout, that will give you 20% off your first purchase at Collide Records. And I'm looking at their store right now, and they also have the collector's editions of Backbreaker and Blood in the Gears, which the Showdown released recently, which is cool. Getting a little CD deluxe collector's edition back in the mix in the 2020s. CDs are coming back, and Collide has them. So jump on over to CollideRecords.com, use our promo code ChurchJamsNow, get the Showdown's A Course of Obliteration on vinyl, some of their CDs, and check out all the rest of the stuff that they have in stock. I'm sure you'll find a lot to enjoy and spend.
All right, welcome back to Church Jams Now. I hope you enjoyed those ads as much as we enjoyed making them. We, of course, are still joined by David Bunton from the Showdown, and we're going to talk about A Chorus of Obliteration. I'm very excited to get into it. I do always ask before we go track by track if anyone has any general thoughts or anything they want to say about the album as a whole before we get into it.
I don't have any general thoughts, but in the interview I mentioned before, Brad Moyes did say that y'all try to get Michael Sweet from Stryper on a song, and I would love to know which song that is when it comes up. If you remember.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
But it's not because I don't remember. I think it was just, hey, will you play a solo on our record type deal.
Oh,
You
okay. It
know?
wasn't so like you had like a
Okay.
song like this is where Michael's guitar part goes. Like
No, it would have
okay,
just been like, yeah, because we're doing, I mean, love Striper, forever. But man, that would have been so cool. I mean,
It's so funny to that. Okay, so I mentioned briefly before, David. I have ADHD, so I have a lot of like trinkets on my desk that I play with. I have dice and I have uh, receipts and old things that I just like
you
play
know,
with that you guys can't
receipts.
see.
Just play with receipts.
But as of now, I'm actually playing with my cassette copy of "Reach Out" by Striper.
nice.
And I'm just sitting here directly under the camera, just opening and closing, playing with this Striper cassette that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace for a
That is
buck.
so cool. Yes.
Okay, so without further ado, let's get the party started and start with track one, "A Monument Encased in Ash."
Man, let me tell you, when I discovered this song in high school, it was like the coolest. Like having the intro is just like a full like minute and a half, maybe a little too gratuitous, but definitely not for me. I was like, yes, this is so cool. It's like,
It's just a straight minute of Riff
yes,
City.
Yeah.
it is. Which is like that's all I wanted, man. That was all I wanted.
Well, yeah.
We didn't really care about doing anything the way it was supposed to be done. Like I remember like whenever, you know, we were writing this record and there were like, you know, metalcore bands were coming out and there was a lot of like breakdowns and stuff like that. And we were just like a lot of formulas and we were just like, we want to
Right.
do something completely different to us. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a metalcore record. It's still got breakdowns. It's still got formulas, but we tried to.
Right, but this does feel different, right? For specifically like this year, like 2004, like other
Well, and
metalcore records,
you're
like
automatically different than a lot of like other bands that are probably in the scene because like y'all have chops. Like you guys can play to a level that I think a lot of people couldn't in that scene. So that already put y'all, I think, above.
yeah,
I appreciate that, like saying that. I mean, that I think that and that doesn't no credit to me because I don't play the instruments, but all of all of us guys, we were all drummers as well. We're all of us were all in the drum line. Josh wasn't, but he's just really good musical. Everybody else was all in the drum line.
that's really interesting context because I could tell like this feels really live, but it feels really tight.
Yeah, I mean, we just loved it, and I mean, we practiced like we were used to practicing, like I said, we practiced Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like in high school, every Tuesday and Thursday we practiced drumline separate from the. We just had the in our head like, this is what you do if you play music. If you want to be successful, you practice, you get on a schedule, run
Right.
it over and over and over and over, and like that's just kind of what we did. So I mean, it's cool to you think that. Thank you. But I,
Yeah, because I'm curious. So in 2004, I mean, were you guys recording like digitally at all? Was this still to tape? What was
it was Pro
the?
Tools. It was Pro
It
Tools,
was
but I
Pro
mean, it was
Tools at
like
this time. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I don't know that there was a lot of editing that we did
Right.
at that point in
Yeah, yeah.
time. I mean, it's because I think everybody was just like kind of new to. I know it was Pro Tools for sure, but there was it was like the infant stages for sure.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
You weren't
Um,
just punching in for like a 2 second phrase and punching out kind of
mm,
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, we had played those songs. We played the songs on on the record. Like we played them live. We practiced them constantly. I mean,
Yeah.
before we went and recorded the record. So I mean, it was definitely like super important to us, like for sure. I loved, with that song also. I side note, not trying to like whatever. I just saw Slick Shoes live at
Oh,
Furnace Fest. That
nice.
was awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
They were like, they were a very tight band, and their
Hmm.
records were kind of different than the other punk records, in
Right.
my opinion. Especially like Burnout and
Yeah.
stuff like that. They just had like a tightness
Hmm.
that was like insane, and we always like wanted to be as tight as them. But like that Monument riff, that's kind of like, if you're familiar with
Hmm.
Slick Shoes, that's kind of like our East on Tracks, like
Mm.
like
Hmm.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's like shreddy. But yeah, sorry, didn't mean to just like
No, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
that's
side
That's
great
on
awesome. I
context.
love it.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Okay. My biggest note, right? Like first impression, like going into the album, it's like, okay, this sounds like if the members of Pantera were sober, right? Like it's got that like similar like 80s 90s like metal vibe, but it's not like sloppy. Like a lot of those like Pantera and like early Metallica records are like there's a lot of technical acumen, but it also feels like one person's
There's
on
also a lot of
cocaine, one
drugs.
person
Yeah.
is drunk. And so like time's a little like wibbly wobbly, but you guys are just like so on point.
That's funny.
So
That is
yeah,
funny.
I love that. That's
yeah.
really good.
No, I loved it.
Uh,
Yeah, I like it's definitely this song on Chorus of Obliteration is definitely weird how, yeah, I mean, I think it would would say that it's definitely like it's the one we play with, that we play last every show. I think it's definitely the
Cool.
one people like the most when we play,
Yeah.
for sure.
So how did you guys land on this being the opening track? Like where in the recording process was this made and when was that? Was that like because you guys played so much, like you already kind of had that idea, or did that kind of come
I
about
think it
later?
just like, I don't ever remember a time where this wasn't the opening track. Like,
Cool. Love that.
where
Yeah,
do we put
dude,
the
I love
song with the
that.
minute and a half
Yeah.
instrumental intro? Where's a good place for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
like, and I mean that like before we recorded it, it was like, this
Right.
is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first
No, it's just
song.
like, well, yeah, this is the opening track.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So good.
Like, I love that there are sometimes, especially on this record, there's just some at some points where it's just like you just go off on a jam, you know what I mean? This one just
Yeah.
started with
Yeah.
it, and it goes into like and it's funny because it's like listening back to it now, especially like some of the like the choruses and stuff, and the way that I sang them. That was like the first time that I ever sang, because a lot of the times where we would do, and on Temptation for sure, Travis and Josh did almost all of the backup vocals. So we all sing too. So we always do backups
Right.
together. This record, there were times, and I'm pretty sure it was a Monument case. It may have been Iscariot, but Iscariot and a Monument case to Nash. But I did harmonies on the song with my own voice, and that was like the first time I ever done that. And
Mm.
I felt so cool. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Hell yeah, dude. I get
I
that.
was like, this is awesome. Like, I've made
Yeah.
it. Like, and
Yeah, because
like
you
listening
don't ever
back,
get to do that live, so it's only in the
Right. Yeah,
studio.
yeah.
and I've
Yeah.
got such a punk tone on it. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so weird. It's like, so, I mean, but that's just me at the time. That was just me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, yeah, it sounds very punk rock, like for sure.
Yeah. No, I love it. This is a great
So I want to
song.
ask about the lyrics. You mentioned earlier in the showdown when Josh was writing a lot of the lyrics and the melodies. Was that still going on, or were you writing these lyrics?
Yeah. Yeah. Josh wrote the lyrics.
Okay.
He wrote the lyrics, and a lot of the melodies. Most all of them on this record for sure. The later on down the
Okay.
line, like I had a lot of, I would have some melody input and pattern input, stuff like that, especially when we would play them and practice them, and it would just kind of like sometimes it would change naturally to what was more comfortable for me. But on this record in particular, like he was had a very, you know, a lot of the melodies, patterns, all the lyrics was a bit all him. So, but that's just always, he's very poetic. He's very gifted in that, you know, and it's like just very comfortable. Like I was a drummer and I wasn't a good enough drummer to play drums in a punk band or a metal band. So it's
Oh, I
like
get that. I'm the
I
same.
ended up being the singer, and it's like,
Yeah.
because I wanted to be involved, like, and play music with my friends, so I just became the singer.
Yeah.
And it's like I liked, you know, my strength was, well, I figured out how to become a singer. I figured out how to have some sort of a presence on stage, you know, whatever
Right.
that was. And then, you know, there were times, and especially where it was like, oh yeah, it's the Showdown, that the guy that tells the jokes on stage, you know, that guy, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, those were my areas of strengths. Like his was definitely
Right.
the lyrics. I mean, the
Mhm.
lyrics on this one is definitely, and this record is very heavily like, it's pretty much like a Bible story.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's very like
Yeah,
biblical.
for sure. Like this one's about Sodom and Gomorrah.
Hmm. Yeah, I was curious if it was like he was like, "Hey guys, our first record's just gonna all be Bible stories," or if it just like it just kept happening. Like, did he just use that as an inspiration point, and then it's like, "Oh, all of our record basically is like kind of that."
Well, it's not really in his personality to like share like that.
Right.
Okay, he shares through his music.
he
Got
was
it.
like he was like the
Yeah,
quiet,
yeah.
you know, like the tortured artist, and good at what he does. But no, and I say that as a joke. We That's what we would laugh. We would laugh if we, but no, he would ever say, he would never come out and be like that. It's just like that's just real. That's just what he wrote. Like what he
Nice.
Right.
wrote
Okay.
about it. It's just like and that was the cool thing about Josh and I too. Working with Josh was like there wasn't really a lot of, we didn't he didn't really go that deep with telling me what the songs were. We didn't really have much of a discussion. We just had a connection musically, and
Right.
I was basically, whenever I got the lyrics, I was instantly sold on them. Like
Yeah.
instantly sold.
Well, it's almost like okay,
Here it
excuse me
comes.
once again.
Yep.
Welcome to Movie Jams Now. It's like a real like Scorsese De Niro situation, right? Like Martin Scorsese like had this vision and then he trusted Robert De Niro to interpret that, you know, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Casino, like all these things. Like he trusted this guy to enact his vision and kind of like left it up to him and his interpretation.
Yeah.
It feels like
Yeah.
that to me. So, David, I've now called you Luke Skywalker, a cinematic hero, and
Yeah.
Robert De Niro on this podcast. How do you
I
feel
love
about that?
that. I mean, hey, you guys are making me feel great. Like I've heard some of the podcasts you do where you trash the bands,
Uh,
and
hey, we don't try to trash anybody. It does happen occasionally, but it's just our honest musical opinions.
so if you ever need me to, thing is I don't know if I can actually do it. I don't think I could sit in on sit in while, what is his name, Tyler Skyler, the other host.
TJ.
Oh,
TJ. Yeah.
TJ,
Yeah,
TJ,
yeah,
yeah,
Jeff. He
yeah.
while he's having his baby, I could sit in with you guys and talk
Right.
some smack on the bands.
Oh,
But
oh yeah. Well,
I don't think I could do it. I think I'm too nice.
That's
I
a
get
good
it. No,
quality. You know.
That's true. That's true. Well, we started out really mean, and then we got really nice, and then I realized I was being too nice, and so I started to get mean again. But
Course correction.
it's mostly like for dramatic
Mhm.
effect. Um, all right, guys, let me tell you, hell cannot stop us from moving on to the next track. Track number two, hell can't stop us now. I love this. Is like it's so just like I don't know, man. I want to like drive around in a in a
Trans Am,
Pontiac
yeah.
Firebird or something. Yeah, and like a Trans Am, just like jamming the hell out of this song. Like I wish I had a mullet when I listen to this song.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely like so. Josh is to Pantera as Travi is to like 80s, like
Yeah,
Skid Row, Def Leppard, Warrant.
right.
That's like Travi. So it's like I loved it when they would write together because like they would have those kind of like gnarly like 80s kind of riffs going on, and then like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
had like a real good flow with each other. Like
right.
so,
Well, there's a lot of that on this record. Like it almost feels like kind of throwback to that. And it especially feels out of step in the best way with like what was kind of going on in the scene at that time, right? Like there is a lot of the sort of like pretty like typical breakdowns. You had the like Norma Jean Under Oath, like discordant chords and stuff. And you guys were just like over here, just like
Harmonized to
riffing on the
melodic guitar,
80s. And
yeah.
I like, I love it. I love it. It's so
yeah, I
good.
appreciate it. Yeah, we were totally stoked on that stuff. Like
Yeah, it's so
totally
good.
stoked on it. Like a lot of those bands you mentioned, I really like those bands. There's some bands that were out at that time that I didn't understand as much. I always say, I think I've maybe the last couple of podcasts. I mean, Bless the Martyr, Kiss the Child is like such a great record. It's like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like,
But the thing is every like almost everything that came out in like the 5 years after that, I feel like in some way was just trying to emulate that. And it feels like you guys were like taking a step past that, right? To do something a little bit different.
yeah, and I don't really even know. Like, it's weird because like a lot of, I mean, I guess if I'm going to be honest with myself, a lot of the decisions that were made musically during that time when we were kind of doing some of the stuff from Chorus of Obliteration, like I might have been a little bit disconnected kind of just because of what I was saying earlier. You know what I mean? So, because I was into like the Bless the Martyr, Kiss the Child. Like I loved Under Oath. Like I liked a lot of stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's like if I had a
Right.
lot of my musical, if my musical influences were showing actually on this record more, it would have been a little different, I would say.
This is why bands are so rad, right? Because you have all these people that have different like disparate
Yeah,
influences come together to like meld it into something
right.
unique.
And that's like like on which we can go. It's so funny that like this is kind of bringing up some weird memories, like the tones that I was getting on this record. Like there's a tone shift in my voice on this record, which is like before I was always really, I mean, I would do like some of the lower vocals, but I really was kind of more into doing some of the higher vocals. But that's not really where my voice like naturally goes. And I know like one time we were like I was kind of getting warmed up, and I would usually get warmed up to like stuff in the car like that. I was like changing of times or something like that, and just like stuff like, and
Right.
it would like blow my voice out because that's not naturally how I sound, or like that's like not naturally in my what I do or whatever. So it's like
Right.
I was like kind of almost finding my scream and in a way on this record. And that's
Hmm.
why it's like some of the tracks on this record, which I'll kind of point out as we go, it's like I don't really do that high of a vocal on there because I actually like I kind of messed my voice up trying to do that on some of the other tracks. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I don't
Hmm.
know, maybe I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
back on into something weird on that, but that just kind of made me think. I just remember distinctly like riding around in my car trying to get warmed up to record this record, and then being like, oh my gosh, like I can't do vocals like that long term.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like,
So you have stuff on here that's
Right,
like you
right.
didn't do in the rest of the catalog, right? It's
yeah,
just on this record. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I was trying to figure out, and it gives a little bit more of like, hey, I don't do this anymore, but I did it on this record. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And on this record too, there's a lot of cool stuff that happened. Like on this song in particular, like the chorus of Hell Can't Stop Us Now, Josh did the singing parts and the screaming parts.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So we were just trying to get it done. And I would just be like, bro, I'm tapped out. Like I either it's not sounding good, or I can't, I'm just not have the tone. You get the I remember he got the chorus on this and I did the verses.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like we did that a lot, and it was like super fun, kind of like a talk back and
Yeah, a
forth.
little trade off.
And then live it was a lot of fun because we would have like a lot of different things going on live. It was fun to recreate that kind of stuff live too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, recreating the studio stuff.
Yeah, because like I would live, it kind of turned into I would do the singing parts, and then the other guys would do the screams, and it was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun doing this record vocally because of the things that Josh and I were able to kind of do. I loved those moments when it was like us kind of trading some things and getting like a vocal dynamic. I love
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that makes it a fun dynamic for the fans too, because like, oh, whenever they were playing Hell Can't Stop Us Now, like Josh is gonna get on the mic or like Travis as well, and they're gonna like a little vocal interplay. Always makes it a little fun for a live dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest thing going back for kind of like I said, kind of like going back into your catalog, starting with Backbreaker for me, was that like obviously like Temptation feels like a big just like change. And then I like remember reading stuff online where people were like, wow, like it felt like a big shift. But it's like listening to Hell Can't Stop Us Now, like you can see, oh, here's like all like the groundwork for kind of going almost full 80s like that y'all did on Temptation. So I was like, no, it was in there, and this I feel like this song has the most of it to kind of like show like this is where we're going on the next record. So it has
Yeah.
that foundation. The groundwork has been laid.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that one a lot. It was fun to do that. I liked doing this one live a lot. It was definitely kind of fun. Like, definitely felt like when we did it, we definitely like hammed it out, acted like a bunch of goons. I know, at least I know I did. I acted like I was Brett Michaels. That's so stupid.
that's
It's so dumb.
that's the part of the Showdown stage antics, though. You guys have a reputation. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, all right. Kylan said he's gotta go grab something upstairs. By the way, just FYI, he'll be back. All right. Anything else on that one? Do you already move to the next one?
No.
All right. Let's move on to Epic, A Chorus of Obliteration. So I think it was this song that was kind of. So I think the way I discovered y'all, if I remember correctly, it was I was reading the liner notes of Project 86's Rival Factions, and y'all were one of the bands that they thanked. And I was like, I think I just remember being like, the Showdown, that's a cool name. I think I'll check these guys out. And then I like was digging through and I found y'all stuff. And so I didn't know if you were aware of this and if you want to speak to it, but so this song is called Epic, A Chorus of Obliteration. And the first song and lead single on Project 86's Rival Factions is called Evil, A Chorus of Resistance. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. It's kind of like this similar setup with like four letter E word, and then you have a chorus of whatever. I asked Schwab about it one time at a show, and he said it was, I was like, is this a nod or something? And he said it was just a coincidence. But I couldn't tell if he was being like sly and being like, it's just a coincidence or not. So I'm like, is there a connection there between these two? I didn't
I
know if
don't
you were
think
aware of that.
Yeah,
Well, y'all were first. Y'all were 3 years ahead of them. So
I doubt there was a connection. But I mean, if he did, I mean, yeah. Of course there's a connection. He ripped us off.
he did. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he did. He just
Of
didn't want to
course.
admit to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get Randy and Steve on the phone. Let's see what they
Yeah.
got to say about it.
Yeah. I'm sure they would agree.
No, I love those guys. We did a tour with them. Andrew's great. Steve, Randy, all those dudes, just killer bros. I mean, it's a shame he ripped us off, but it's cool.
I know. Didn't even get any royalties or anything. It's one of their more popular songs too. So
Oh my God, is it really?
yeah, it is.
What a joke. Okay.
Yep.
No, but no,
He loved your name too much, you know.
yeah, that's unreal. So kind of what I was saying, like, not to be like, super nerdy and make it about me, but the vocal on this song is kind of what I was talking about. Like that higher register that I'm doing, like on this chorus, on the chorus of the song, is like not my natural jam. Like it blows my voice out, like hardcore. Like it's not where I go naturally. It's like, but like in my head and what I wanted to hear and like a lot of the stuff I was listening to, that's what I thought I wanted to sound like.
Yeah.
So it's like there's some songs on like that in particular, it just, I don't know. It's kind of odd hearing this one and then versus, I'm not sure what is the next track.
From the Mouth of Gath.
Yeah. From the Mouth of Gath. And I can't remember. Is there anything else you want to talk about on Epic Course of Obliteration?
Well, is there any? So did you have to like change how you sang it afterwards whenever you all do it live? Like, did you have to sing it differently?
I probably did.
Singing?
Yeah, I did sing it different. I mean, I didn't sing it like that. I probably did it more of like a mid register or like kind of a sing scream type thing. Definitely not the way I did it on the record. Another thing that's really cool about this song that's really weird, I don't know why they were so obsessed with it, but that like dropout acoustic thing.
Yeah. It feels right. Like you had to have at least one on the record. Like that was very much of the kind of like, I don't know, the metal, but it makes you like maybe you think of like a Dream Theater kind of thing. Like oh, you got to break it down to acoustic, and we got to get real like technical with it.
Right. It was cool though, like doing these songs live, especially when this was the only record we had, because there's so many weird spots like that on the songs. So like I had like a lot of time to just like catch my breath and like goof off and like not, that was always kind of nice.
No, that was, I have a note on one of the upcoming songs. So I was like, what are you doing during this whole like instrumental part? We'll get to it. All right. So let's move on to From the Mouth of Gath Comes Terror. This is by far the longest song on the record and arguably one of the more epic ones.
So nuts.
Is that you screaming in the beginning?
That is Brian Kemp. He's the lead singer of Destroy, Destroy, Destroy.
Okay.
That was the band that Jeremiah was in and Andrew played drums.
Gotcha. Well, this one has a lot of features on it then.
Yeah.
Because it's got Scoggin and a little bit later. Man, This song. Okay, so we always make a big deal about our favorite songs on the record, and this on this listen, this was my favorite song on the record.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love how like it feels very epic, which goes in line with the story that it's going. I mean, I love when on the live version where you say you might have to get the felt boards out because the song's about David and Goliath, which is like the least metal thing you could say, which is very cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Can you tell me about the Skagen feature on this one?
Yeah. Let's do you want the political version or the non-political version?
Whatever you want to tell.
I think he did it. He did it because he owed Brad a favor, but he really didn't want to do it or something.
Oh, really? Did he just like send it in, just like record it himself and then just send you all the file or something? Or did he like have to come down?
No, we wanted it, or Brad wanted him to do the part on Laid to Rest, like the screaming part on Laid to Rest, to come up with something. And he didn't want to do that. He didn't like that. So he was like, well, I want to do this part on this song, I guess. So he like, recorded that wherever he was and then sent it back to us. So he didn't, I hadn't heard it. I heard from multiple sources that he did say that he did not want to do it, that he owed Brad a favor. But anybody else, if anybody else in the world said something like that, I would take offense to it. But it doesn't like offend me that he said that. And I really, honestly, think I don't think that would be cool if it was any other way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the lyrics, were those the lyrics that Josh wrote, or did Scoggin come up? Okay.
He did. He came up with it. It's totally came up with
I mean, it totally works for him, like Married to Your Destruction. Like that's totally like a walking around straight jacket, kind of like that feels very Scoggin.
Yeah. And I mean, it's again, like I said, like, obviously I like Josh Scoggin's lyrics. I like his vocals. That record, Bless Mother, Kiss the Child, was insanely cool. Like, it's definitely like one of my favorite records still. Like, I was working at Hot Topic and was Employee of the Month, and I got to pick a record out, and I picked that record. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think it's cool that he did that on the record. I think it's even cooler that he like didn't want to do it, because that's so Josh Scoggins and so tortured.
Yeah. I want to know how Brad got to where Scoggin owed him a favor. There's a story there.
Yeah, there is a story in there. But I'm glad he did owe him a favor, because it turned out really cool.
No, it turned out great. Yeah, especially because you got like that sweet Southern riff going on, and then Scoggins' part is super cool. Like
it is, and I mean, it's cool because it's like one of those things where it's like, no matter what, it does like testify to that dude's ability to come up with some ridiculously catchy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, where we were, any time that we were playing a show, I could look in our crowd and I could know by the time that part came up on the song, this is the person that's going to get up on stage and do this part.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time there would be one person there that knew the words and was like, they were just ready to go. It's like, I never sang that part live ever.
Yeah.
I would always give the mic to someone else and just be like, all right, it's yours. You come on up on stage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it was never planned. Like, you didn't have to plan it, because it's like people just connected with that part. So it's like super cool. And it kind of plays into the fact that, like, he didn't want to do it. He just owed somebody a favor, but he did it anyways. Kind of like me in the Showdown record.
Reflects that. Yep.
So would you say he's the Han Solo to your Luke Skywalker?
He kind of is. He doesn't want to be involved. He doesn't believe in the Force.
Right.
Like,
He doesn't.
no, no. He's just
You should hear the voicemail he sent me when I asked him to do it as a furnace fest.
oh my god. Okay, we don't have to air this, but I want to know the contents of that voicemail.
Nah, dude. The thing is, I only asked him because I knew he would say no. But it was more of just I want to say hi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, no, I mean, I didn't think in a million years that would happen, but I had to.
Yeah, I mean, you're both there.
Right.
You
Yeah,
have
of
to.
You
course.
have
Of
to
course.
ask. I mean, it's like, what do you do? And I mean, on the off chance, because it's like if everybody's different, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm at a festival and 85 bands ask me to do a guest vocal, I'm going to definitely do 85 guest
Right.
vocals.
Well, you're gonna do 84. You'll probably be in the bathroom for one of them,
You
but
try,
you'll do
yeah,
at
as many as
least
you
84.
can feasibly fit in there.
Yeah, of
Oh
course.
my gosh. But no, that was the dirt on
Yeah.
that song. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, we love that. We love that part. I never had to sing it live. We did it when we did it Furnace Fest. Austin from The Undertaking did it, and he crushed it.
Oh, nice.
It was a
Nice. That's
total
cool.
crusher, and that was fun.
Kylan, you missed it. This is I've declared the song my favorite song on the record.
It's
It's
your
my
favorite.
favorite
Of course it is. It's
It's
the
the
longest
longest
song on the
I
record.
knew.
That's the most
It
Josh
is.
move
It
ever.
is. I couldn't deny it. It's got the sweet southern riff and the Scoggin feature, and it's just got like a mean riff. Like it's so good. It's so good. I just have
Yeah.
the line. I do want to props to Josh for writing the. I do like the line. The bane of Gath, whose sword wrought terror in our hearts, is a sweet line. Was it you? Did you add the you're pushing up Daisy's baby, or was that Josh?
Oh, dude, that was all Josh Scoggins. Wait, no, no,
No,
no. Now
because
you're pushing up Daisy's baby.
that feels like a you ad lib.
Maybe I did ad lib that actually.
Okay. I mean, it's not like this happened over
Yeah,
20
yeah.
years ago. So
I
need to.
either said it. No. Because on the original demo version, I said during that part right before that, I said, "Well, you could suck my kiss, or you can get snake bit," and they wouldn't let me put
Ooh.
that on the record.
what? Oh, that's
Red
so
Hot Chili
good.
Peppers would come after
That's
you.
so
Yeah.
good.
They said they wouldn't let Brad didn't. Brad would.
Yeah, Brad was like, "No, we're not fucking with Flea, man. Anthony Kiedis is gonna come after you. We don't need that. We don't need that heat."
They also said that they didn't want me to do the metal symbol. I was like, dude, I'm grown. I gotta do the metal symbol. Come on. Like, you already, like, I don't know. Like, in what world? Like, it was just like, that we've completely left the whole, scene of church jams now when we're trying to
Right.
put
Yeah.
"You Can Suck My Kiss" or "You Can Get Snake Bit" on our record. And like
Yeah,
that's totally
yeah.
like normal. Of course we're gonna say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, somewhere out there, there's a version with it.
No, that's what Brad just found.
Yeah.
That's the version
You
Brad
gotta post them. You'll have to post them.
Yep.
Dude,
For sure.
they were on Pure Volume.
Years ago.
Pure
Dang.
volume. Wow. Okay. As if we're not already like 1,000 years old, you're gonna bring up pure volume. Okay. All right, man.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna make a proclamation
Cool.
Do
to
it.
move on. We are moving on to the next song. A proclamation of evil's fate.
The song does flow really nicely from Mouth of Gath. This was the one, David, where I was gonna ask, like, so much of this song is instrumental. Like, what are you doing whenever the band's
What do you do?
yeah, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do on stage? You just hanging out?
We only played this song a handful of times, really.
Okay. This one felt like it had the most like instrumental to vocals ratio of like the highest instrumental. So I was curious. I know it was like
For sure.
it's very Ronnie Van Zant of you because he was always like pushing him like on Freebird like to make it longer just so he had a break to where he didn't have to sing. So I was like, you probably enjoy that, especially as like a
Sit
metal
down.
vocalist. You're like, I don't have to be like
Right.
screaming for however long.
Yeah, yeah, I loved it. Especially like I said, when we were doing these songs, like it was so nice because I had so much time. Yeah, there's some. I was trying to see if I could pick out on this one. I couldn't remember if Josh and I did some back and forths.
It sounds like there's another vocalist on that one.
I think he might have did some with me, but like there was no like like on Hell Can't Stop Us Now. Josh is solely doing the chorus vocals. Like I'm not on the chorus at all. But that's like I think that might have been me and Josh, but it's definitely I'm on all of them.
Beyond what did you do on stage during those sections? Like what did you do during rehearsals for these like really long instrumental parts?
Especially if all the lyrics are written, you're just like, hey, I'm just chilling here. Like,
Yeah,
You're just hanging
I
out,
just hung out. I mean, it was like,
just chilling.
yeah, I just stood there pretty much. Like,
You didn't have like a Game Boy.
oh no, huh?
You weren't just like hanging out.
No,
All right.
I mean, we practiced, it was not like you're in it, like you're in practice. Like,
Right.
there's not, you don't like, there's no like everybody. You have to be practicing. Like, even if I'm not doing something, like I'm with you in this practice right now. Like mentally, like we're together. So it's like I didn't, definitely like didn't like do Game Boys or anything like that. But I mean, I don't know, it just kind of jammed, just kind of got because we would get together. Gosh, even when we were touring, when we weren't on tour, we were practicing 2 to 3 times a week. So it's like,
oh wow,
when we would get together and we would do the songs and run the set like maybe 2 or 3 times. So we'd practice for like a couple hours or whatever it was. But and a lot of it was just hanging out too. But yeah, we definitely played a lot. But yeah, just just standing there watching dudes shred.
it just enjoying the high
yeah.
voltage.
I mean,
heavy
that's
metal.
like the best. Yeah. Yeah. Why would you play Game Boy if you could just like watch dudes shred? Like that's like way cooler. I get it, man. I get it. Sweet. Do we have anything else about A Proclamation of Evil's Fate?
I'm not super. I mean, a lot of instrumentals. I like the singing part at the first of it. Yeah. It's a little punk. I mean, it's definitely got some punk vibes. Like, it's definitely weird here, and it's weird here in the sung parts or whatever, like on this record, because like I would say probably 6 months to a year, I was pretty much doing all of those parts a little bit different, and even some of the string parts. Right. But it is what it is.
Sweet. All right, guys, we have to reckon with the fact that we're moving on to the next track. I don't know how to say this. Dagon.
I think it's Dagon.
Dagon.
Could be
Dagon.
wrong.
We always said Dagon.
Oh, okay.
Dagon.
Well,
and that might be wrong.
I'm not sure.
It's canon now. Dagon Undone, The Reckoning.
This is my favorite song.
All right.
Oh, it's so brutal. Love it.
Why is it your favorite song, David?
I don't know. I think this is more of like where more I was like finding, my voice, like that more lower mid register, like, it's a more naturally where my voice lies.
Yeah.
So rather than like epic Chorus of Obliteration, or like even some of the parts on Mouth of Gath, like jumping up and doing some higher stuff on the chorus, but that more that
Yeah,
lower
put it
mid
like pretty
throughout.
like
Yeah.
mid-range. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, there is the line, the splitter of skulls, breaker of backs, which is a little foreshadowing to the third record. But I do feel like it does sound like how your voice was sounding on that record by the time you got to backbreaker, where I feel like you're probably more in your comfortable range with the heavier vocals.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And, Bruce was on this track, which is cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Okay, so I knew he was on here, and I had a problem noticing like which one was him and which one was you. And this isn't the first time that happened, because when you did the feature on Infinite Order, I remember watching like the video of you recording like some like higher vocals that sounded very you. But then on the record they used like your lower vocals for that. Was it on They Were One? Is that song on Infinite Order that you were on Living
Yeah.
Sacrifice? Yeah. So whenever like that part came, I was like, wait, which one's, is this David or is this Bruce? Like, did they cut David's feature? But like whenever y'all both go low, I just have the hardest time picking y'all out between the two of you, each other.
Yeah. No, I've heard that before. He did on that part on this one. It's like he does the in heaps, the armies lie.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. Was that something like that would just like happen in the studio, or was that like y'all's idea or Brad's idea, or Bruce just like, yeah, sure, I'll throw some.
A lot of that stuff too, like a lot of that stuff was happening in the studio was because, and I don't want to make it all like, all about me, but I, like trying to find my voice, trying to figure out where I was, losing it, feeling like I'm losing my voice, not knowing how to sound it. It's like that's when Josh is popping in, like Bruce came and sang that part on the just trying to get like everybody involved as much as possible. And it's like, we wanted Bruce on it anyways, and he was there. So I think it just kind of like happened randomly. I don't think it was like anything planned.
Nice.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah, I
That's
always
the
feel
best.
like whenever like people would have like, if it were me and I was like working with some like big musician that I look up to as a producer, and I'd be like, you want, like, I wouldn't know how to like ask how to be like a little awkward, like, you want to sing? Oh, like when do you want to? You're really good. So I didn't know if that was like a weird thing to kind of like get around, to be like, Bruce, you mind?
Yeah, and I was stoked he did it. I mean, I was stoked he did it.
Yeah.
It was cool too, because like I think this song in particular, this song was on New England Hardcore Metal Festival sampler too, which was like really kind of crazy, because like that was not, it was cool to be on that with like all the bands that were like on that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We're legit.
Working out of Tennessee, going to New England.
Yeah, it's like we made it. We're not just on songs from their penalty box now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This also has a super fun bouncy riff that happens like towards the end of the song. To like,
Oh
yeah, that's a fun one.
The Irish jig.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yep, that's what it is. That's why it was big
There
in
it
New
is.
England.
There it is. Yes, exactly.
We don't
Figured it out.
The Dropkick Murphys wish.
we don't play that live. When we've done it the past
Oh, y'all do?
times, we cut it out and go straight into one of the songs on Backbreaker. But it is, but we always played it until we got back together in 2022. Anytime we played that song live, we always played that part though. Like, which was another cool spot that I could just kind of kick it,
Exactly. Get
Right.
ready for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next song. Yep.
I love that. All right. So this goes out to our absent co-host, TJ Iscariot. The next track is, of course, Iscariot. Okay, I have to clarify. I'm joking. I'm so glad he's spending time with his child.
I know you're
I'm not
joking,
actually
but yeah,
mad.
I'm glad you made that
Yes.
public service announcement.
This is my
I
favorite song.
knew
on
it
the
would
record.
be. I should have
You
guessed.
knew it
I
would
should have
be.
guessed.
Yeah, like you knew it would be. It's just like it's the most like southern
It is,
metal,
yeah, yeah.
and that riff right there, it's like it's not super complicated, but it just jazzes me up.
Yeah.
And then there's like the whammy,
Oh,
the
the dive bombs. Yep, yep.
like, oh my God, I love it. I love it.
Definitely has a stiff upper lip vibe, you know what I mean?
For sure. Lyrically, it's real intense.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Tonight you die a traitor's death. Just like, ooh, okay. All right.
Pulling no
All right.
punches. Pulling no
Yeah,
punches.
he was mad about something. Josh was.
Yeah.
Was it a
Okay,
personal song?
Judas,
Yeah,
it's
he's
fine.
like he had some
I think
altercation. He's like, I'm gonna write a song about Judas.
I think this might be about somebody else, not about a Bible verse, but
That's what made it
not,
real.
Well, we can't speculate, but maybe a little
I'm pretty
bit.
sure it is.
A little bit. It's pretty
Yeah,
intense.
he was. I don't think Josh was very happy with some folks at one point in his life, but it does work as about Judas as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. This might be the one that I was like sang the harmonies, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm killing it now.
Right.
We do have a music video for this song.
I don't know if
Oh,
I've seen
really?
it. Huh.
Yes, it's pretty cool. If I told you who made it, you wouldn't believe it.
Who made it?
Martin Scorsese.
Somebody that did it. Somebody that did not want to make it.
Josh Goggin.
Okay. Well, okay.
You got him to do the video too.
He didn't want to make it. But he
What?
did.
Okay. Okay. Well, okay. Well, now. Okay. Listen. We have to
Yeah,
hear
there's a
all
story
of the
here.
context.
No, I don't. Actually, I don't know if he wanted to make the video or not, but he did make our video for us. He did a good job. It's very like lo-fi punk rock. It's very legit and captures the essence of what we were at that time. Like very, pretty much it was footage from our very first tour
Mm-hmm.
and right before our record came out. And then like that footage from the camcorder was like made into a music video. So it's like, that's exactly what was happening. Like, that's exactly what we were doing. And it was like on TVU. And, if you guys are familiar with that, the Christian video channel, TVU.
Oh man. Okay. I'm watching it now.
So who made it?
Josh Scoggin. You actually think I'm joking?
No, did he actually?
Yeah, he actually made it.
Oh, he did? How'd you get him to
He
one?
like cut it together with like Final Cut. Like I mean, I'm just okay.
Yeah, so
We need to
you
get him
one
on
got
the
him to
phone
do the
right now.
vocals, and then you're
I'm
like,
calling him.
"Hey, can we get you to do the video too?"
Okay. We love the vocals. Can we also?
We know he didn't want to do those though.
Have you
Like, can
this?
you feel like also a video?
How? Okay, no. Listen, you're just laughing. You gotta tell us. You gotta
Dude,
tell
I
us.
have no idea
Let's
how
see
it came
on
about.
this.
I mean, to be completely honest, I just think it's so funny because I think it personally rules. And I love it that he did the vocals, and I love it that he did the music video. But I do think it's funny that probably he's burdened him.
Sure, for sure. I'm right there
Because
with
I
you.
like his.
I'm right there.
Because
with
I'm a fan of him, but I hate to impose, but
you. Right. But let's burden
He can't-
Josh Scoggin just a
he
little
can't
bit
turn
more.
down
I
some
love
good
it.
work, I guess. It's like,
I wonder
dude,
if he. Yeah, I don't know if he. Surely to God they paid him for that. This wasn't a favor. There's no way.
This was a contracted job.
you don't just edit a video for a favor. Yeah.
And the thing that's ridiculous is, it's probably my favorite video. Just because it's like,
That's so
it's just.
funny.
I mean, it's like it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like that's actually what we were. It wasn't like, not trying to hate on any of our other videos. I mean, we were, you know, in a warehouse or in a field or, whatever you do in a
Right.
video. But I mean, that was just like, if I was going to watch a music video, there's probably more entertaining stuff in that one than there is in anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and this song always seemed like a big like live staple for y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. We did. We played it. We played it a lot live. Um, Towards the end, not so much. Like after Backbreaker came out, I think we kind of stopped playing it. I don't know why. I think, well, actually, some of that stuff shifted because when Backbreaker came out, we started being a four piece,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of switched some stuff up. Travis stopped playing with us, so some of that stuff we did stop playing.
Yeah, there's only so
But
much Josh can do at one time.
yeah, we did play that. We did play this one, play it a good bit, and it was always fun to play.
Oh yeah. No. It comes in a great time too in the record where you kind of want like we've had some like bigger, long, epic songs, and it's like just get a nice high energy one that's got a good riff to it and some nice like clean vox to it,
Yeah,
and maybe a little personal lyrics to it.
yeah.
That's funny. That's so funny there. I love that.
Well, I will say y'all's name was not Defeat. It was the Showdown.
Wow.
Let's move on to
That
track
was
number 8. Your name is
Kylan.
Defeat.
Yeah.
Hit me with the Latin for it, Kylan. The dolor por prolium, I assume is, I don't know.
Oh, wow.
It was on the
Josh.
CD. It's on the back of the CD.
Oh, see, I don't have the CD.
Yeah.
You're the physical
Yeah.
media guy. I don't know this. I'm just looking at Spotify.
This is my favorite.
This
This is my
record-
favorite song.
You
So
already
good.
said that one. You already said that.
Yeah, okay, wait. Oh, yeah. No, you're
Yeah,
right.
he said
You're
that-
right. You can't
He's
have
gaslighting
multiple
us,
favorites.
yeah.
I love. No, I changed it.
All right, there's
Okay.
there's a theme here though. You really like the heavy stuff.
I do like the death metal sounding stuff. Like I am a big fan of that. I love that. I mean, I know that like this record wouldn't be the same without everything else, but these moments on this record are like my favorite. And at the time, I wasn't stoked on it as much. Like I was like, yeah,
Really?
because I was just like, oh no,
Like, this is no Ben Folds spot.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll
Yeah.
do it.
Where's the piano, guys?
Because I was like, I was saying before, it's like, I was like, I wasn't doing like the vocals the way I wanted to hear it in my head. Like, it wasn't the higher register things. I was like, kind of being, well, my voice is gone, but I can make these low sounds. Crap, I'm just going to do these low sounds. And it's like, now it's like, that's all I want to do. Like, still, like,
Right.
those are my favorite vocals. Like, I still do. Like, I love death metal vocals. Like, I sing death metal.
Hmm.
Like I'm in a death metal band, dude. Like I love death metal. Like,
Okay.
let's do death metal.
It's making a lot more
like
sense
it.
then.
It is. It is. It's
Like
tracking.
got death metal. Like death metal is for lovers.
That's great. That's great. I
Yeah.
love that.
All right. That makes more sense. So I love that. Yeah, we're reluctant too. And especially for like you being a little bit reluctant to do that. And they're like, hey, do the death metal. Like, it's not just like, here, sing this part. It's like, oh, you need to go all out on this song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I'm glad it worked out. It's a
Nice.
shame.
Man,
It's weird. We played this song before we recorded the record quite a bit. And then when the record came out, we never played this song. It's so
Really?
dumb. Why did we not play it? And like, why did I not talk them into playing it when we just played Furnace Fest? Like, that's
Yeah.
so dumb.
Well, at that point, you got
like that's the place.
were
to
y'all
be.
doing
like that's the
a
place
lot
to
of
play.
chorus songs for Furnace Fest for the 20 year, or were y'all just like pulling from everything?
Well, we pretty much didn't. We were not able to really prepare anything additional to what we did in 2022. We just
Okay.
played more of the songs. Like in 2022, we only got to play like 5 songs at Furnace Fest, and this year we got to play 9. So we had
Okay.
prepared a, I think like maybe 10 songs for our pre-shows in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So we pretty much we didn't have time to learn anything else, even though we had you know a good year. We still
Right.
like we only had like so much time, so we couldn't like I wanted to learn a scariot and do a scariot, and it was just like, gosh, we really don't even have time to do that. And that's like a
Dang.
simple one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we did practice the ones that we knew, and we did the best we could on those, which was cool. But we did for Furnace Fest the ones off course that we did, to make a long story long: Monument, Case and Ash, Dagon Undone, and then we did Give Us This Day, which was
Oh,
on
cool.
Backbreaker, but we recorded it in between Chorus and Temptation as well.
Okay.
So it was a
Okay.
bonus track on the European release of
Yes.
Chorus of Obliteration. So we played that.
So what is the story with that? Because I knew that, but I know it is like the brief Wikipedia snippet of it. Like why was that a bonus track
Why do
on the
Europeans get all the bonus tracks?
European
Why don't we get the bonus
release?
tracks?
Yeah.
So basically, like we went when Chorus of Obliteration came out, we one weekend we went down to Birmingham and we played a show at a church. And when we were there at this church, Dallas Taylor came, and I had booked Under Oath in Johnson City, and like kind of knew,
Mhm.
Dallas from that. And he came and he was like, oh my gosh, he was like, he was being really nice to us, and he gave us his band's demo, and was like, I want you guys to come down and play with us. We
Nice.
have a band called
Yeah.
Maylene Sons of Disaster. And we're like, oh my gosh, that's cool. So of course we're like, yeah, we're definitely going to do that. It's legit. I think we may have even spent the night with Dallas that night. So of course we did that, and we gave that demo to Brad. First things first. And we're like, yeah, this demo is cool, Brad. And then they ended up signing with Monitor
Yeah.
Stereo.
So we have
But
you to thank for
Right.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
no, not me. It's not about me. Trust me. uh, but then we had that show booked. We were going to go play with Maylene. And I think we may have had maybe 3 weeks that we weren't playing shows, and we were just practicing really hard. And I think, just got bored and like wrote a song. And we wrote Give Us This Day. And we were just like, screw it. We're going to play this brand new song, this show. Like, ha ha ha, tell us you can't. Whatever. So we played a brand new song. Like, I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I think Chorus came out in November, and I think that show with Maylene was maybe sometime mid-March. So, I mean,
Okay.
it was like really soon after. And we had like a video camera of it, and we were coming back through. We stayed with Brad, and we showed him a VHS tape of us playing this new song. And he was like, what? Are you kidding me? So he got us into the studio. I'm thinking it was like maybe the next month. I think we did it with Jeremiah, and we just did a demo of it, just recorded the song. And then it just became something that we had in our back pocket. And eventually, when that came out in Europe, they just kind of threw it on there.
Nice.
Why not here?
I know.
Why not here? Come on, man.
I don't know. I don't
why
know. But I tell you, I'm glad that nothing ever happened with it, because we got to re-record it for
It's true.
Backbreaker. And
Oh, yeah.
that was cool. It's one of my favorites on Backbreaker, and we kind of needed.
You feel like that's like the definitive version? It's the backbreaker one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, if I could take Travis's guitar solo from the European release and put it on the backbreaker version, then that would be my
Then that
most
would be like
Okay.
perfect.
perfect. Because that Travis does this solo on it that is just like chef's kiss. You know what I'm saying? Josh does a great solo on backbreaker too. He's just got this whole like noisy dime bag thing going, which is cool
Right.
too. You know what I mean? I don't know. When we play it, Travi does it, and it's just like, that's my jam.
Nice.
Sweet. Well, I'm glad we are able to lay that story to rest. So let's move on to ostensibly the last track of this record,
Oh, we
Laid to
skipped Your Name
Rest.
is Victory, though.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Oh
That was
no.
not
Oh my God.
victorious.
Oh, that was not victorious. Guys, I'm so sorry. I guess I have to leave the
Your
podcast
name
now.
is not victory.
My name is Defeat.
We're stuck in. You're
Let's
just stuck in a
do
loop.
Your Name is Victory.
I did want to ask. Well, then, because Josh wrote all the lyrics, but I was curious if, like, of writing these two songs like as a piece, if that was like musically and lyrically was always like the intention of them, or something that kind of came together, putting them next to each other in the like album placement. If you know about that.
I'm pretty sure it was always like a part one and part two, and it
Okay.
may have even been like just a super long song that we just cut into.
Like, we need 10 tracks. We have this 5-minute song. We'll just cut it into a 2 and a 3-minute song.
Yeah, and I mean,
No, I
and
love
there's
that.
just a lot of stuff like that.
How do you remember all of this? Like, okay, like I am a musician. I fully don't understand, and like I love metal music. And I even played drums in like a metal band for a while. I don't understand how you guys can differentiate between all of these different parts of all of these songs.
No, it's very impressive.
It really is.
I don't know. Like they just, that's the one thing that I'm very lucky that I have the musicians that I had in the band that I got to sing in. Like,
Right.
I always felt like I was the least talented person. And even
Okay, De Niro. We know.
I did. I mean, I did always feel that way. And I mean, I think that it's one of those things where it's like, even the other guys like Travis and Josh, they're better singers than I am. Like, so it's like, I don't know. It's very cool. Like, I'm a fan of theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a fan of their guitar playing. A fan of what they do. So it's just kind of cool to be, on the record with them, to be honest.
Well, that's where you want to be, like, as a band. I feel like you want to surround yourself with better musicians, and I don't think you want to, like, it's good for your ego, I guess, to be the best person around, but it doesn't make great music when you're the most talented person or you're like levels above, unless you're some like crazy musician prodigy kind of person. So it makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just definitely like those dudes are good at what they do, and like they still like impress me. Like going and doing Furnace Fest again in 2020 this year, which we just played, which feels like forever ago and 5 seconds ago, like the first of this month. It's just like, I think those dudes were like crushing it even still, like, as musicians. Like,
Yeah.
I was like super proud of what they did, and I'm feeling like only thing I can do is just do my best as a vocalist to like, do justice, to try to like put what I can on top of them, because I felt like they were killing it. And especially 2022, it's just like I felt, looking back at that performance of 2022, was just like man, those guys were great. Like, I felt like I could really improve. And then, like,
Well, dude, I can guarantee you they all feel the same way. Like that's the whole thing about like being in a band with like dudes that you
yeah,
like, right? Like everyone just like lifts each other up and they're like, "Oh, fuck, like he did so good. I want to be that good again."
yeah.
You know, you guys iron sharpens iron.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it was cool too, because like I felt like I definitely like, especially as far as like, doing Furnace Fest this time, I'm definitely like super happy with like the way it all went down. Like super proud of our performance, super proud of everything, all the work that we put into it. And definitely like if that is the last time that we ever play, like I'm totally cool with that. Like,
Well, until you guys play Church Hymns Now Fest 2026. I'm
Wow.
calling
Okay.
it.
All
I'm
right.
calling it,
Cool.
guys.
dude,
Guess we're doing that.
I guess we're gonna
Guess we're
put on a
doing that.
festival.
are you guys serious?
No, but I want to be.
Man, that's a lot of work. I mean,
Dude, I don't even
No,
it's
know.
I
a
know.
lot. It was,
It's too much
I
work.
mean, just how much work it was for us to get together to go back and, play 8 songs at a festival. I couldn't imagine actually putting one on.
Dude, like yeah, I mean we struggle having three guys in two of us are in the same time zone finding time to make a podcast.
It's got to also just be such a
hard.
change from like when y'all started of being like, yeah, we're practicing 2-3 times a week. We're playing like
Right,
multiple
2-3
shows a
times a
week, kind of
week.
thing. To where like we'll be lucky if we can find a time to practice in the next 6 months before the show. Like
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah. That's gotta be
I mean, it
hard.
is. And I mean, that was kind of like one of the things where before we did it, it was just like, okay, what do we, because we know that we're going to be schedule challenged. What is the
Right.
minimum that we are okay with practicing before
Right.
we do this show? And what's that look like? And is everybody okay to commit to that? Like, for this time, I think that we said, we'll do one practice a month starting February, and then August, we will ramp it up to like, or no. Yeah, August. I think it was July, August, we ramped it up to twice a month. And then end of August, maybe we did a couple extra. In September, we did maybe 4 practices.
Mhm.
So it was just like,
Right.
Definitely like trying to keep that like that game going of like, oh, we have to practice, but like, how do we do that now?
Yeah, how feasible is it
Right.
to
I mean,
just
super
schedule
crazy.
4? Yeah.
Super crazy. Like, yeah, but it was cool. I mean, because we don't want to like, we don't want to go out and, well, at least no matter what, like, and I mean, maybe we weren't that great. I don't know. I mean, I was pretty proud of us, but we didn't want to go out and just be like, oh man, they were cool because they used to be cool.
Yeah, you want to be like a
Yeah.
nostalgia
For
act.
sure. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we're old, but I mean, we can still jam a little.
Yeah, exactly.
We got 9 songs in us,
Right. Yeah.
That's good. That one did have cowbell. I just want to say the fun cowbell inclusion.
Oh,
Gotta
yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
All right, Kylan, do your thing.
All right. Well, I'm glad we finally laid all those Furnace Fest practice rumors
You can
to rest.
finally lay
Oh,
your
God,
original
no,
thing
I
to
was-
rest.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Yes, I can finally lay my original bit to rest with track number 10, Laid to Rest.
Did I harsh your vibe about talking about other things?
No, I love that.
No, not at all. I fucked up the track list. Welcome to Church Hymns Now, man. I don't know what I'm doing.
So the cello, we got a guy, one of our buddies that The guy that played the cello has passed, R.I.P. That is Josh singing.
Oh, is it? I was gonna ask because I was like, I don't know if that sounds like you, but it sounds good.
Yeah,
Ah, okay.
I told you he's a better singer.
He's a good singer. Props to Josh.
It. I tried to sing this song multiple times, and it just didn't sound good. Like
Yeah.
as much as I wanted it to be me singing the song, like
Mm-hmm.
it just wasn't good. Like it just didn't translate. I mean, it was kind of like the chorus of Hell Can't Stop Us Now, like the singing part on that. I just didn't sound, it didn't sound natural when I was doing it. Like, I
Right.
don't know. Like, so it definitely like turned out a lot better with Josh's vocal.
Well, dude, I love that perspective that you have, right? Like there's pretty much no ego in that, right? Like you're just like, yeah, well,
The song
okay,
needed
well,
that.
this guy
Yeah.
can sing this better. Like it's not like a typical sort of frontman lead singer thing, right? Like you were just like, okay, this makes more sense for the project, for the album, and could kind of let that go. I love that. I don't know. I think that's really admirable.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean it definitely like it's like
I'm sure it stung. Like I'm
yeah,
sure it hurt. Like I'm sure you wanted to do it, but it's like it's a big move, especially because okay, how old were you when you all made this record? Like
yeah,
22 is what
about
you said?
22.
22,
Yeah.
23? That's insane. I do not know another 23-year-old that would be able to like take that step back. Like I cannot comprehend that because myself as a 23-year-old, I would have been like, no, 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 no. Fuck
I
you.
got
I got
this.
it.
Yeah.
I got it. Let's just do it. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I think
It
that's
is
cool.
cool.
Right. And I mean, yeah, I definitely like, I just try to be honest with myself as far as like, and I did try it. We did try me doing it.
Right.
It just didn't sound good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Some kind of off of that, I'm just curious. I should have asked earlier, but how was like as a producer, is Bruce like really like hands on? He's kind of hands off, just kind of let y'all drive and steps in when he needs to, or is he like what's his production style like?
I think that I think, gosh, it was like, a little bit of both.
Okay,
Yeah. Like hands on. Like, I mean, I know he was like, involved in like getting sounds and stuff like that. And he definitely like helped me with the vocals and definitely like helped me like, well, this isn't working for your voice. Try it lower, try this, try that. So he was definitely like, definitely hands on with that. He's definitely hands on with the vocals with me. I mean, he
okay,
was there. Um, I think a lot of the music and stuff like that, we didn't really do a lot of like changing. We didn't change anything song wise.
okay.
Like
Okay.
the songs did not change at all. But
So he wasn't like arranging stuff. He was just
no,
like, cool, that's a
no,
good song. Let's record it.
that's the Showdown would not. We did not come that far at that point in our lives. First of all, we didn't care. If somebody would have told,
Right.
and it's not that we had a pride, but it was just like, why would we care? We're not changing the song. Like, we don't, we're not trying to be famous. Like, this is, we put
Yeah.
our, this is legit what we want it to be. We didn't come all this way to have it any other way. Like, whereas you go to the next record where it's like, yeah, we're trying to be famous now. So we
Right.
It's a
we're
full swing.
obviously we're obviously open to that.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
a lot of opinions changed in this couple of years. Like, oh, maybe we could actually do that.
Yeah. So no, yeah, but as far as that goes, but no, it was cool. It was cool working with Bruce. It was fun. Like I can vividly remember that studio. I can vividly remember it. And we had like these Bible verses all over the walls, like that we printed out. We would go to this place called Baja Burrito. It felt like there was this little tiny TV. The Chappelle show was always on.
Nice.
And it's weird because like at that time, I can't really remember. I feel like I had it was such an innocent time for me because it's like I don't really know what vices I had, which is like
Mm.
I just don't remember like what did I do when I was recording that record because I didn't drink energy drinks. like I didn't like I didn't drink coffees, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like I didn't like smoke cigarettes. I didn't vape. I didn't
No
do
Game
any
Boy. Yeah.
I
Like,
didn't Game Boy.
No Game
Yeah.
Boys.
what were you? You
We
had a
know
lot of
that for a
time
I
fact.
didn't
on
play
your.
video games. I've never been a video game guy. It's just like, whoa, I was really just raw dogging life.
That's what people did
Yeah,
back in the day,
dude.
though. No phones.
No,
Yeah.
I
You just,
know.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah, no
I
texting. I
love that.
don't it was so
Right.
funny.
No Candy
No,
Crush. I
nothing.
mean, come on, man.
No. But yeah, it's so funny. It's just weird to think about. It's weird to think about that time and recording that record, but it was cool. Like it really was cool. Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I enjoyed
Well,
it.
it sounds like a cool and like a genuine first record experience because y'all aren't like we're really hoping we're gonna hit it big with this. Like, hey, like we're just here to do this record and have fun with the songs that we wrote. Like, it feels like a very genuine experience of going into record.
Yeah. I mean, I'd remember when we were doing that record and I was just like I said, like I had no idea what it what the next step. I mean, who knew? Whatever. I don't think we had at that point in time, we had never had a t-shirt printed for our band. We've never had a t-shirt ever.
Oh,
Like
wow.
for 2540 or the Showdown.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that we ever had was a sticker and a button and a CDR that we like got a label maker and we had a
Mm-hmm.
stamp kit. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and that at that point in time, I mean, we hadn't sold buttons and pins since like, 2002. Like we weren't
Right.
2002 to
Got no merch
2000,
at the merch table. Just like we're here to rock, and that's it.
2002
He's like, I don't
to
know, man. We
2004.
don't have
No,
anything.
we didn't do merch. We did not do merch. We just played shows.
Yeah.
We didn't do any of that. Like we were just jamming shows. Talking about Chorus of Obliteration and it coming out and not, it came out the same day as the first Chariot record. There was some other stuff that came out and like, we didn't really have any idea of what it meant to put a record out or how many records you're supposed to sell. We didn't, I mean, I never even thought like, how many records did our records sell? Like that was never even a thought to me. Like I had no clue if anybody bought our record or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But another thing that was weird, one thing that was kind of weird when our record came out, the very first show on the Staple tour in Jacksonville, Florida, the president of Metal Blade Records flew to the venue and watched us play.
Wow.
And it was just like, dude, our record hadn't even come out yet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like the buildup of like why we became so psychotic. It was like that happened, by the time we made it out to California on that tour, people from Century Media were taking us out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And then like by the time we were back, people from Roadrunner were coming to take us out to dinner. And it's
Right.
like, it was insane. Like those are fun moments. Like, so it's like we just went from not caring about any of that to like having all this weird stuff happen and like just being like that summer of 2005 when we played Cornerstone, Illinois, like we had no idea what to expect. Like I think it was like 2 o'clock in the day. There were so many people watching us, and so many people knew the words to our songs. We were, I mean,
Right. You're just like, what
I
is
was
this?
flabbergasted. I'll tell you right now. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember thinking like, if this is it, then we made it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
That's such a
that's
cool
so
moment.
rad. I
Yeah.
love that. Okay, I think we talked enough about Give Us This Day earlier.
Yeah, it's very cool context on that song.
Yeah. So, okay, David, Mr. Bunton, I want to ask you right now. We're releasing this episode in conjunction with the 20th anniversary of this record. And I want to know how you personally feel about this record now. I want to hear a kind of generalized statement about how this record sits with you now in 2024, 20 years after it came out.
I mean, the only thing that I could say uh, negative about the record is the way that it sounds. Uh,
Yeah.
Other than that, and I have heard like a remix of one of the songs because we were thinking about doing a remix for our vinyl.
Oh,
There was
nice.
something weird where it couldn't be streamed, and we were just like, because I don't know, some rigmarole with people that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Right.
Long story short, we weren't gonna put out Bones to remix something that's not going to be able to be on Spotify.
Right.
But it sounded awesome. But like that's the only thing. But I mean, as far as like the songs, the playing, my vocals, even though there's things I would do different and I did different live,
Mhm.
I don't hate it because it is an actual snapshot of where I was and a snapshot
Right.
of me trying to find myself essentially while making a record.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the guys. Like I'm proud of Josh's and Travis's, riffs. I'm proud. I love the cover. I think the art's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
The art is
It is
really
cool.
cool. It's metal as
I'm just
hell.
proud of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm proud of it. Like for sure. If it's cooler, if I don't want to be prideful, but I am proud of it.
No, I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
valid, man. I mean, you made something cool. You should be proud of it.
Especially it being like, like maybe it could have sounded better, but like even like with that aside, like that doesn't taint anything. Like that's always the best. That's always what I want to hear from artists about their stuff. Like,
Yes,
good. I want you to
exactly.
love your work.
Okay, I think we're about done. We're about to wrap up. So this is a great time to tell people, what are you up to now? Do you want people to follow any other projects? Anything else going on?
Yes, I do another project, um, which is kind of cool. I kind of slid my way into one. Um, is a band called Hope Deferred, and I started jamming around with them uh, about 2 years ago. We're working on a record. It is the essentially Andy Godwin, Jason Linquist, Derek from Embodiment. They're the guy. They're essentially like guys from Embodiment, and then John Tooley. He was in the Famine
Mm.
with those other
Oh,
guys because
cool.
the Famine was kind of like Andy's from Embodiment went on to do the Famine, so it's kind of like all whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm doing vocals in that band.
Oh, sweet.
So, and
Okay.
it's, pretty much just like, I mean, it's death metal. Yeah. It's
Hell
kind
yeah.
of like,
I love it. Sweet.
I, I feel the same way about Andy and John and those guys. I'm a massive fan of Andy's guitar playing. Like, I love Embrace the Eternal. I think that Famine record, The Raven and the Reaping, is one of the best modern metal records out. Like, even it came out in 2008, but it's like so good. Like, it's so amazing. It's like, it's the heaviest record that's ever come out on Solid State ever, like of all time.
Dang.
And it's
All right.
like, I can't believe that I'm doing vocals in their band. So we've almost got the record done. All of the music's recorded. Half of the vocals are like, we've got half the vocals demoed out. I think I've been down there a couple times. I'm going to be going back down there in a couple months, maybe a month. Yeah, we're really happy. I'm happy with the way it's going. So
yeah. Sweet.
I'm just, again, like, I can't believe I'm a part of it. So
Nice. When do you have like a tentative like plan for a release like date, like in a couple months or like sometime late next year, mid next year?
I mean, hopefully,
You know what they say about hope deferred though, so be careful
that
what
is
you
very
say.
true. Yeah, you get it.
No, but for real.
We're still about that life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still about that life. We're still over here jamming for the lamb. But
Yeah.
but no, I mean, hopefully, I don't. It's hard to say, but like, it feels like it's so close. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Okay. So it's closer than it's not, is what we can say. So
oh yeah,
that's good. That's good news. That's good news.
let's.
That is. It's a CJN scoop.
If it could be, yeah, that's it.
It's closer than
If
it's
it could
not.
be spring, I'm gonna be like pumped. If it could be
Right.
like summer, I would still be pumped.
Right. If it's 2025, I'll be
Yeah.
pumped. So
It's a good year
If it's-
to release a record.
If it's fall, I'm gonna be a little
Right.
sad.
That's fair.
That's
That's
valid.
totally fair.
No.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
that's
That's
We'll hold you to it. Yeah.
it's very fun. I love the riffs. It's like riff nasty. Like, it's like my favorite thing that I've ever done, for sure.
Very nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
sweet. That is awesome.
forward to
Okay,
that.
so I'm gonna end this here. I'm gonna say, if you enjoy this, we have more nonsense like it in our Patreon at patreon.com/churchgamesnow podcast. And from all of us here at the Church Games Now crew, may all your favorite bands stay together, and peace out, Mon
And
Frères.
get snake bit.
Yeah, snake bit. Yeah.